It's Tuesday. Take your finger off of that screen because we got some things to talk about, and we finna talk about it right now. But before I click over real quick, like, subscribe, follow, and please share. Help me get the word out. All right, because I can't do it without y'all. My teeth look very white, don't they? All right, so as you guys know, I wrote this book, Box View. So first of all, I want you to go get this book because this book is going to transform your life. And that's what I want you to have, is a transform life. Let me tell you why. Because if you didn't know it, right now you are sitting in boxes. Not just a box, but you can have several boxes that have got you trapped and you need to get out of. Let's talk about the different kinds of boxes. You can be trapped in a relationship. You can be in a box in your family. You can be in a box in your career. You can be in a box in your emotions and in your mind. And you don't even realize it, right? And you can be in that dysfunction and you not even realize that you've been trapped. And we need to start showing you what happens when you get comfortable in your dysfunction. Because when you've lived in something for so long and you've seen it for so long, you don't see it as dysfunctional. Let me show you and talk about dysfunction. So I have the last name Boyd, but I grew up as a Hall. So I consider myself Grandma Hall's granddaughter. She loved me like she was there the day I was born. But watching her and WC, which was my grandfather, communicate was very strange to me. He would say, "Edna, you want me to go get you some water?" And she respond back, "Yeah, Dud." Now, people would think that they was upset with each other, okay? Because my mother taught us, if you ain't upset, then you don't need to raise your voice. But they would be yelling at each other over some water, and you would think they hated each other. But that is just the way that they communicated. But do y'all know that's dysfunctional? You know, your voice is all raised and don't nobody know if you're mad or not. That's dysfunction. But they were comfortable in their dysfunction. And do you know how many other people are living in dysfunction like that? God rest y'all. I miss y'all so much. But people are living in dysfunction and don't even realize that what they're dealing with is dysfunction. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. Let's talk about when you get comfortable in your dysfunction. And I'm going to bring a scripture in here. All right. So we have this man that is laying by the pool of Bethesda, right? And so Jesus comes scrolling by, sees this man, and, you know, he's like, "How long have you been here?" And this man's like, "I've been here for, 38 years, right?" And he's like, "You've been laying here by this pool for 38 years. And he was like, "Yes." He said, "And I want to get into this pool, but nobody's here to help me get into the pool. So I miss my miracle." Jesus is like, first of all, you over here looking for a pool when I'm your total deliverance. Y'all, if I had time, I would give y'all some revelation on that would blow your mind, but I don't have time today, right? So Jesus says to him, "Okay, tell you what, do you want to be healed?" And the man said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, get up, take your bed, and walk." And this man got up and got to strolling like he had never been laying there for 38 years. So what changed? Let's talk about it. His mind. Because Jesus challenged his mind. Because see, it's one thing to be crippled in your body. It's another thing to be crippled in your mind. And that spot that he got comfortable in, laying by a pool, that was his box. And Jesus walked into that place, saw all them other sick people, but walked up to him, got him out of his box, and left the other one still in that box of discomfort, waiting on a miracle to come at a certain time. Can I ask you a question? How many of y'all have been sitting on and waiting for a time because your miracle's going to come? Honey, your miracle's now. What I wanted to tell you is this. I can testify to the man laying by that pool. You know, if I was to show you a list of the health problems that they say that I have, you would be like, "Girl, go lay down and don't get out of the bed." Okay, don't ever get out the bed. You need bed sores. That's how still you need to be. But when I looked at that and I started, my mother was a woman of faith. And my mother when they told me that I had thyroid cancer, if y'all see this little small line, they did a good job. They told me I had cancer. They tested me 3 times. You have thyroid cancer. Now I'm in my 20s. I'm like, God, I can't catch a break. This is wrong and that is wrong. And now y'all telling me I got cancer. And so for a whole year, I didn't say nothing to anybody because I was sitting in this pity in this box called sickness, thinking this was my lot. This is it. If I'm going to die, I'm just going to die. This is the ignorance and the dysfunction that was coming to me sitting in this box, not realizing that healing was coming to me. It was an opportunity. It was something that could be presented to me, but I didn't see it in that dysfunction. So when I finally told my mom, I said, Mama, listen, they told me last year that I had cancer. I didn't say anything, but they tested me again, and it's, a lot more is spread. It's still in the thyroid, but it's more than it was before. And she said, well, do you have cancer? And I was on the phone with my mom, and I said, no, I don't have cancer. She said, then you don't. And when they took my thyroid out, they didn't find a drop of cancer in my thyroid. Want to know why? Because my mother started changing that crippled mind, that box that the devil had me sitting in thinking I was going to be disfigured and I was going to have cancer all of my life and I'm going to be fighting all of this stuff. But the devil is a liar and the father of it. You may be living in a circumstance at the moment, but that is not what the final say for you. That is not what God has to say over your life. You have freedom, and now you're about to figure out how to get it. I need you to go get my book, Box View, because I'm not just talking about something that I think. I'm talking about something that I know. I was testifying today. I said, I know a lot of times it seems like, the enemy be trying to hit me with my health because he can't get me no other way. I said, but you know what's funny to me? I said, my doctors be in shock. I have not been back into congestive heart failure or AFib in 2 years. 2 years. And they said, you're going to be living with this for the rest of your life and coming in and out of this all the time and every month. The devil is a liar. I climbed out of that box that they was trying to shove me in, and I stood on the outside and I looked at that box and said, that is not my lot. I am not going to be sitting here stuck with congestive heart failure or anything else for the rest of my life. And I'm a walking miracle. And they don't understand why and how all these things that they thought was going to consume my life has not overtaken me. Because I understood that anytime I accept what the devil says, I climb in a box and I sit there in comfort until it becomes dysfunction and I don't get out. But today, those little holes, you're looking at me right now if you look at this, there's little holes in there. Right now, you're peeking at me through some of these holes in your boxes. And you're saying, but you don't know what I'm going through and you don't know. I don't have to know. But what I do know is this. If you lose here, you're going to lose out here. Because how a man thinketh, how you process, how you see yourself is how you become. Why? Because you start acting out what you believe. God, that was so good. Y'all go get this book. I'm going to link it. Okay? I'm going to link it. Y'all go get it. Because soon we're going to do a course and we're going to talk about it because I'm finna get y'all free. The Lord has had me, kind of in a holding pattern, but he's releasing me. And I am working on some stuff. But we finna do some things. I'm going to help y'all get free because I promise you, I'm good at what I do. God has blessed me. And now it's my turn to help you. All right. Hit the cart below, or if you're watching me on Instagram or Facebook, the link is in my bio. Go get yours today.